I used to do it before I started setting up bales ahead of time. Now I do still use it sometimes, as we actually just take this cart behind the ATV, take it down to what I call the hay depot or the hay locker, fill up this little cart, and then we kind of bring it out here and we just kind of spread it around. When I say spread around, you know, whether it's coming out of the little depots that we set up out here, if it's coming out of this cart, you know, I'm not really spreading it, we're just creating little piles. So it's spread out and each goat can get their fill and they aren't fighting too much over it. And it's not just one big pile, helps reduce waste, makes it go a lot further. Had to do it today. Today's a couple days after Thanksgiving. Hay delivery got delayed, didn't get the hay till right before Thanksgiving, had to go visit family, blah, blah, blah. Those pens up there, you can see them, one over here. They're still empty, haven't been able to get the bales into them. I'm doing that next. So in order to do that, one, we got some snow, protein's getting a little low, go ahead and bring them out some hay, but two, this hay will keep them busy so I can get the skid steer in and out without them trying to follow the skid steer or running in front of it or doing other things to piss me off. So kind of two reasons to bring out some hay here today, but this is how I used to do it all the time. A couple of years ago, it dawned on me that, hey, if I just set the bales up ahead of time, I can do it that way. Obviously, if I had 500 or 1,000 head of nannies out here, I would just unroll hay bales behind a tractor or off of a truck. But given the much smaller number of head that I have, unrolling entire hay bales is not practical, and using something like small square bales is going to be 2 to 3 times the cost. So this is still the most economical way to subsidize their feed. One of the things you might be thinking about is, oh boy, don't you waste a lot of hay just feeding it on the ground like that? And no, not really if you do it well. I will tell you, you can definitely waste a lot of hay. If you're feeding them too much at one time, that's a pretty good way. If it's, you know, if you're throwing a bunch over and it sits out here for 2 or 3 days, that's too long. You're going to start to see a lot more wastage off of that. You want to feed them the right amount that they're going to clean up in a short period of time. And that's why the amount that I feed them at one time doesn't really change, but the frequency of feeding does change. And ruminants can store protein and they can store energy just fine. So you don't have to supplement them every day. The other little tip that I would have is try to put the hay on top of the corn stalks when you're putting it out here. You know, I say we're just throwing it over this thing. We actually will carry it, you know, down the hill here a little ways and stuff like that. But like we have a spot right here where the corn stalks are kind of blown away and it's a little bit just bare dirt. If it's wet out here, they will just mash that hay into the mud and they will never in a million years eat that. They will starve to death before they will eat that. So that's another kind of common method for wasting it. The third thing is when we get to the very end of the bale, we'll just open these gates up and let them clean up whatever spillage there is in there. And, you know, some of that spillage will have been there for a while, but they will actually clean it up pretty well. These corn stalks are leased. If you own the corn stalks, you know, is any of that hay really waste? You know, all that nitrogen, phosphorus, blah, 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 blah. All that's it's not leaving, it's going back into the soil. So that's another aspect of it. You know, we're not going to have to manure spread, you know, dig up the manure and manure spread it out here. We just leave it out here. So, but that's another thing to consider as far as like how sensitive you should be about hay wasted. So I mentioned how well they cleaned it up. This is one of the spots that we dropped off from the cart yesterday. It's right around 24 hours later. So this is a pretty decent pile. Keep in mind, a lot of this brown stuff you're seeing, that's actually reed canary grass. That's what's underneath here. Really not much waste. I mean, yeah, sure, there's always going to be some waste. Here's another spot, pretty much the same story. Get over here, there's a little bit more waste. You kind of see the stems there. Still what I would consider just fine. I would say that they clean these areas up really quite well, especially given that they're on top of snow. So that tells me that they got fed, you know, the correct amount to avoid excessive waste in this batch.